Hello and welcome to the demo for the end of Sprint 6 for the SDR Preservation project. As you may recall, the focus of our project is to build a robust and distributed infrastructure for digital preservation. That is the preservation or storage in perpetuity of Stanford data, basically. The focus of our work so far has been the creation of what we call the preservation catalog, which is a Rails application that stores information on the location and size and validity and so on of each of our digital objects. And so to help us out in building out the infrastructure, we've created this document that I'd like to show you the state of at this point, which we call Steps to Production. The point of the Steps to Production checklist, if you like, or document, is just to show everything we need to go through, everything that needs to get done before we can say that we are ready to go to production with everything in the project. And so we keep on updating this as we go along through the project. And so as I mentioned, we started off here with point 1, which is the preservation catalog, which we've stood up, and it's now in an almost completed state. And the next 2 bullet points here that I'd like to talk about has been the main focus of our sprint so far, which is the steps that we call storage validation and seeding the catalog. Now, storage validation is essentially kind of an audit check, as we call it, where we basically crawl each of the storage routes in Moab, and we check that the digital objects, the Moabs that are stored there, are in fact valid according to our specification. And so we've broken this one down into another separate checklist, which is the storage validation to production checklist. And as you can see, we're pretty much through with this task. All the muscular arms here basically means that we have merged each of these things, these tasks, to the master branch, and we only have a couple of things here left to do before we can say that we are done with storage validation. I also want to say that we've been working on seeding the preservation catalog, and we have a separate checklist for that. We still have a little bit more work to iron out before we are ready to essentially get all the data into the database, into the preservation catalog application. But we did a very recent run of the seeding process, which basically goes through all of the storage routes, basically all the directories that contain our preserved data, and loads it up into the database. And we have a statistics page here under our preservation catalog wiki that shows a little bit of how that last run went. So we basically took all the data in our Moab store, our preservation store, and we loaded it up into the database. And this job ran for 3.5 days. It finished successfully on the first attempt, I believe, and we loaded up 1.1 million druids into our database, and so we're rather pleased with this latest run of the seeding process. We do expect that we'll run the seed several more times, but for the moment, it seems like it's a robust and fairly well-functioning process. This project has turned out to be a little more, shall we say, challenging or larger than we initially thought. And I'd just like to offer up a few statistics on the amount of work that we've been doing. So during this last sprint, we have closed 48 pull requests. And in fact, we tried something new. We took inspiration from the patch parties that we've been running DLSS wide. And on the 1st of November, the whole team got together in one room, and we sat together in the room cracking jokes and pairing with each other the whole day. And we actually managed to close 15 tickets just that one day. So it's been a pretty significant chunk of work that we've done this this past sprint, and we look forward to checking in with you again in a couple of weeks at the end of our next sprint. So thanks for watching, and have a good weekend.